If you can hear me okay, just raise your hand for me if you can hear me okay. All right. All right. So we got a couple callers there calling in. I want to thank everybody for showing up on a Saturday morning. You are at the right place. This is Killer Strategies on how to raise your credit score. If you can't hear me during any time of this webinar here, this workshop, just let me know, and we'll try to figure that out. Got a couple more minutes to go. And I want to thank again everyone for showing up today. I know you could be other places, but I think you're going to learn some great information today here on this workshop. Okay? And let's see here. Is there a live caller? Okay. So throughout this workshop today, if you want to raise your hand, if you have a question, we want to try to leave the questions for later. But there's a mood button at the top of your screen, and in that mood button, you can select where you can raise your hand, or you can make notes, and you can let me know whether you can hear me okay. Okay. If you're on the phone, it's a little different, but if you're on a computer, it's there at the very top. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I like to get started on time. Again, thank you for attending the workshop here. And this is Killer Strategies on how to raise your credit score. You got to bear with me a little bit. I have a little cold, as you can hear it in my voice. So I'm going to try to educate you guys throughout this next hour on the whole aspects of credit score. So again, my name is Mark Claiborne. I'm the author of Hidden Credit Repair Secrets. A lot of you guys may know me already, and a lot of you may not. I'm also the owner and CEO of Self Credit Repair Learning Center, which is a professional credit repair software. And I also own a couple softwares, the Startup Credit Repair Business Training Center. Okay, and I own a professional credit repair service. Now, just by show of hands, does everyone on this call here, do they know me? Have you guys read my book, used some of my software? Just by show of hands. Okay. 1 second. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and as we move throughout the webinar, this workshop here, we're going to talk about various aspects of the credit score, and I'll try to educate you. Thank you for showing up, Mary, and I'm going to try to educate you, and I want to keep you too long. All right? So let's just go ahead and get started here. All right, let's talk about the credit score itself, the payment history. So the big thing about payment history, if you guys don't already know, is that there's 5 elements that make up your credit score. And payment history is the first one. And when we talk about payment history, we talk about, you know, have you been late in the past? How many times have you been late in the past? How many times have you had derogatory information hit your credit report? So when FICO was creating the FICO score, they came up with the 5 elements that makes up a credit score. Now, payment history is the biggest portion of your credit score. Okay, so when you're thinking about what's really damaging my credit score, what's really holding back my credit score, then the one thing you want to focus in or laser target in is your payment history, because your payment history represents a huge chunk of your credit score. And we're going to go over the 5 elements that make up your credit score. So when you're thinking about why is my credit score low, 35% of that is because in the past you have been very derogatory on accounts, or you've missed a lot of payments, or you allow collection accounts to hit your credit report, or you filed bankruptcy, or you got into a situation where you said, screw it, I don't want to make this payment anymore, and you took a deep hit with the payment. And when that happened, it started destroying your credit score. And so payment history is extremely important when it comes to your credit score. So what you want to try to do is you want to try to get out of the habit of being late, allowing derogatory information from hitting your credit report. And in order to meet this 35% of your credit score element of FICO, you have to block all new negative information from hitting your credit report. Okay? So we're just going to do a general overview of the 5 elements. Okay? The second amount is 30%. Now, 30% represents your revolving accounts. So if you have installment accounts, if you have revolving accounts like credit cards, that sort of thing, then that represents 30% of your overall FICO score. So if you have credit cards that's max, right, then if you can get those credit cards down to at least 50% of what you owe, you're going to see a huge jump in your credit score. So if you didn't have any other derogatory information on your credit report, and the only thing was all your credit cards were maxed out, if you attack those credit cards and get them down below 50%, then your credit score would go through the roof. So if you're trying to apply for a home, or you're trying to apply for a car, or something for your business, whatever it is, and you don't have a lot of derogatory, it's just that your revolving accounts are maxed out, then you want to attack those revolving accounts. You want to get them down to at least 50%. Never zero them out. You never want to get them down to zero. Because if you take them down to zero, then how are you going to show FICO that you can make payments? See? So the whole thing is FICO wants to see how well you make payments. And the way you show them that is by not zeroing down your balance. If you zero down your balance, that's great, but then guess what happens? You won't be making monthly payments on that account anymore because now you have a zero balance. So if you want to go down really low, try to take it down to at least 2%. That's what's recommended. Length of credit is how long have you had credit. See, FICO looks at your age. They want to look at how long have you been making payments on this credit card. How long have you been in the credit game? How long have you had credit cards? And they want to see if you can make payments over a certain amount of time. And if you can't show that age and that payment history, then that's 15% of your score, guys. So you got to really focus on these 5 elements because this is what makes up your overall credit score. So when you go apply for something and they say your credit score is only 602, your credit score is only 620, this is the reason why. This is the reason why you're getting hit with the high interest rates, because you're not focusing on the 5 elements of the credit score. So if you're thinking about closing a credit card account because for some reason you still want it, and that credit card account has at least 2 to 3 years on it, don't close it. Keep that credit card account open because you get your 15% for age, okay? But if you're not using it, if you're not using the credit card account, put a bill or something on it where that bill automatically takes money from that credit card account. At least you keep that credit card account open and you make a small little monthly payment on it and you keep your overall 15%. Okay? But if you want to close a credit card account and you're not sure which one to do, always do the most recent one, the one you opened within the last year. You can close that one out. But if you have credit card accounts with a lot of age, then you want to make sure you get rid of that one. Are you guys hearing the feedback?
Yeah. It's a lot of.
I'm sorry, say it again. Okay, let me see if I can fix that for you. 1 second here. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so the next part of the credit score is a mixture of credit, which is only 10%. And so when I talk about mixture of credit, what I'm talking about is um, the different type of credit cards that you have. So you just can't have one type of credit card. You got to have different elements of credit. For example, like a real estate loan. If you have a home, that's great. A car loan, an auto loan, an installment loan, a furniture loan. You want to make sure you have an installment loan, okay? Credit cards, revolving accounts, retail store cards like a Walmart or Macy's or JCPenney, a gas card if you can get one, American Express card if you can get one, okay? And primarily, the FICO likes home loans. They really, for some reason, they like to have home loans on your credit report. That's why if you take a look at your credit report, there's a big section right there that says real estate. Okay? So try to get a mixture of credit on your credit report, as that represents 10% of your credit score. Okay? So it's very important that when you're thinking about your credit report, you do a mixture of credit, which just one represents 10%. Okay? New credit. New credit is what? When you go out there and you apply for new credit. That's 10% of your credit score. All right? So inquiries, when you apply for new credit, right? Inquiries are produced. So whenever you go and apply for any type of credit, you're going to see an inquiry on your credit report. So be very careful when applying for new credit, okay? And we're talking about inquiries in a few minutes. But if you're trying to raise your credit score and you're focusing on this entire credit repair, enhancement, raise your credit score thing, then my recommendations to you is this. Do not apply for credit while you're trying to raise your credit score. Do not apply for credit while you're trying to raise your credit score. Because when you're applying for credit while you're trying to raise your credit score, you're taking a ding every time you apply. Okay? It's dropping your credit score a couple points every time you apply. So you want to avoid that, all right? So always keep in mind the 5 elements of the FICO score when you're thinking about raising your credit score. Very important. All right, some other elements that affect your credit score and some ways that you can raise your credit score are very important here, okay? We talked about the 35% of the credit history, okay, that represent your credit score. So when you're going into attack mode to try to raise your credit score, the first thing you want to do is you want to identify and remove inaccurate information. Remember we talked about 35% of your credit score comes from late payments, collection accounts, charge-offs, that sort of thing. If you can remove any of those charge-offs, those judgments, those late pays, then that's going to raise your credit score right there, right away. For the simple fact that 35% of that comes from what? Your FICO score. So if you can attack inaccurate information on your credit report, whether you use a credit repair service, whether you do it yourself, then automatically right then and there, you're going to see a boost in your credit score because you're going after what FICO just told you, which was 35% of your overall credit score. So whatever strategy that you use to remove inaccurate information, make sure that you target the most recent items on your credit report. So when you're trying to do credit repair on your own, make sure you go after the items that's the most recent within the first 24 months. Because the accounts that land on your credit report within the first 24 months, those are the accounts that's damaging your credit score the most. Think about it. If you get a fresh collection account on your credit report, like tomorrow, that's going to drop your credit score almost 30 points. So always avoid negative information from hitting your credit report and go after the negative information with various dispute methods, okay? Okay, no's looking at your credit report. Now, here's the thing with this. Every time, if you have outstanding collection accounts right now, right? If you have like outstanding collection accounts, creditors, collectors are looking at your credit report. Collectors are looking at your credit report without you even knowing it, because you signed some sort of agreement when you apply for that credit. You signed some sort of permissible agreement which you gave the creditor the right to pull your credit report, you see. So when you did that, you kind of signed your rights over to the creditor, even when they're trying to collect. Okay, even when like you got a charge off or you fell behind on your payments, you gave them a right to look at your credit report. Now, normally, a person or a company or organization have to have permissible permission to look at your credit report. So when you apply for credit, you're giving them that right to do it. Okay? And when you assign that contract, when they give you that credit, you're letting them look at your credit report, even if they're trying to come after you for collections. So know who's looking at your credit report. So what you want to do, you can block a collector from looking at your credit report by simply freezing your credit report. If you freeze your credit report, no one can pull your credit report. Even with someone with permissible purposes, they can't look at your credit report. Okay, no one can look at your credit report but you. So you want to know who's looking at your credit report, because even though it's a soft pull when a collection agency look at your credit report, but if you know that that collection agency is looking at your credit report, you'll know how to battle that collection agency when it comes time to disputing. All right, so you don't want a lot of eyeballs on your credit report. Okay, it's very important that you understand that one little concept right there. Okay. All right, contact the creditor. Now, if you realize your credit score is very low and you know you have to do something about it, you can dispute directly with the creditor. All right. Not only do you need to dispute with the credit bureau, you can go directly to the creditor themselves. So say, for example, you have multiple late payments, okay? And you know for a fact that one of those late payments or even two of those late payments were wrong for whatever reason, because you mailed the letter in, you mailed your payment in, you made your payment, but for some reason the creditor did not get your payment on time and they marked you late. They hit you with a fee and they marked you late. Okay, that's not fair. So what you have to do is that you have to contact the creditor directly, not the credit bureau, but the creditor. And in order for the creditor to take your dispute, you have to uh, start a bona fide dispute with the creditor. All right, so you have to write them a letter, explain your position, and let them know in that letter that you are in fact disputing this. Okay, you are in fact disputing this. You have to say that you are disputing this. You can't just say that, oh, I was not late, oh, this is wrong. No, you have to tell them that I am disputing this late payment. And by law, the creditor has to investigate. Now, once they investigate, you make sure you send in all your documentation that you sent the payment. Okay, it was postmarked on this time, you mailed it, and you write a nice letter saying you're disputing this late, you're disputing the late fee, and you're disputing the 30 days late. Now, the collector or the creditor mark you 30 days late, not the collector, I'm sorry, the creditor. You have to dispute that, and you have to allow them the time, which is 30 days, to investigate your dispute. And upon completion of their dispute, there's a highly possibility that they can reverse that late payment. And if they reverse that late payment, your credit score that took a dip, well, 30 points will go right back up to your normal credit score. Okay? Keep your address updated. Now, why do I say keep your address updated? Now, everything we're going to go through all these slides in this workshop, it's all about your credit score. It's not about credit repair. It's all about your credit score. So here's the reason why you should keep your address updated. Let me tell you why. Say, for example, you went to the hospital, you got a medical bill, you didn't pay your copay, when you went to see the doctor. They said that they will bill you. Then for some reason, the address that they have on file and the address that you live at is different. This is one scenario. You never received that copayment bill from the medical facility, right? So then months and months and months go by. After 30 to 90 days, they're going to send that collection account, that bill, that little $15 copay, or whatever the copay is, $500 if you went to the emergency room. They're going to send it to the address on file, right? So if your address on file is not updated with your current address, guess what's going to happen? That bill is going to go to another address, and you don't even know about it. So you owe $500 for a copay for a emergency room visit or lab work, whatever the case may be, and you didn't even know about it because the bill never came to you. And your life is so busy, The bill never came to you. And because the bill never came to you, you don't know anything about it. But guess what happens after that, guys? It goes to collection. And then what happens after that? Collection has that old address, so the collectors can't contact you. So what happens? It goes on your credit report. And what does it do? It dropped your credit score by like almost 30 points. So the takeaway here is that always keep your address up to date on everything you do. Everything you sign, a creditor, medical, anything pertaining to credit, make sure you have your current address. Pay your bills on time. What is the number one way that you can guarantee to pay your bills on time? The number one way that you can guarantee to pay your bills on time, and I know we're all busy, right? We're all busy. We have a lot going on in our lives. So the number one way that you can guarantee to pay your bills on time is put every single thing on auto pay. If you put every single thing on auto pay, you would never, ever miss a payment. Ever. So we're talking about if you're trying to correct your credit score, if you're trying to raise your credit score, you have to place things on auto pay if you have more than 2 credit cards. If you're not organized, right? If you're not organized, if you have 1,000 things going on, right, and you're so busy, you got kids, you're running your business, you got to work, all these things happening, you're gonna forget that the credit card payment is due. So in order to avoid that, you call them up and you say, hey, can you tell me about your auto bill, your auto pay, your car payment, auto pay, your major big credit cards, auto pay, your gas cards, auto pay, your rent, your mortgage, auto pay. Okay? That guarantees you that you would never be late. You just have to be responsible to make sure that the money is in the account when it happens. You don't want to incur all these additional fees, guys. Okay? You're on this workshop for a reason, right? I'm teaching you the strategies, the techniques that I've used throughout my entire life to maintain a 740 credit score. To maintain that credit score, okay? You can get it. You can get the credit score, but now you have to do what? You have to maintain the credit score. And this is the way, these are the secrets that I'm teaching you on how to do that. Make sure you put every single thing that you have on auto pay if you can. Okay? But if you're bouncing bills around, if something's coming in because you don't have the money and you don't want it on auto pay, that's a different story. But if you're comfortable with your finances and you're able to put it on auto pay is the key to never being late. I think auto pay is the key to having a good credit score, period. I think this is the future. I think it's the future because you don't have to do any work. You don't have to remember anything. The banks will do it all for you, okay? All right, let's pay down on your debts. I know this is a big one right here, okay? Some people may not have a lot of extra cash. Some people may have a lot of extra cash. But remember when we was talking about the 5 elements of the FICO score, this one is number 2, the amount of money you owe on your revolving accounts. If your credit cards, I've seen a lot of credit reports, okay, in my credit repair service. And most of my clients, their credit cards are maxed to the top. And I know because it's Christmas coming up, I know a lot of people are going to be maxing their credit cards out too, okay? But remember this, when you max those credit cards out, your credit score is going to take a hit tremendously. I mean deep, okay? So find extra income to throw at your credit cards. Find extra money to throw at your credit cards. If you have anything you want to sell that just been laying around your house for a long time, you want to get rid of it, put it on eBay and sell it. Put it on Amazon, sell it. Take the extra money and put it towards your credit cards. If you want to raise your credit score fast, this is the way to do it. If you want to raise your credit score quick, this is the way to do it. Okay? Tax time comes, take the extra money you have. After you spend a little bit for yourself, put the rest towards credit cards if you're trying to raise your credit score fast. Now, after you get your credit, say you make a payment, so you pay you pay 4 credit cards down to 50%, right? Here's the quickest way to get them your credit score up. After you do that, go online to all three of the major credit bureaus and dispute your balance. Okay? Don't do it by mail. Go online and dispute your balance and say your balance is now 49%, is now 39%. You'll get a quicker response that way than sending it by the mail. And then once FICO comes around, sniffing, looking at your credit score, they're going to see that you paid on your balances and your credit score is going to go up very quick. Ask for a credit increase. When should you ask for a credit increase? Okay? A credit increase, and you guys can type. I can type in the chat section. If I ask a question, if you want to answer, you can. You should only ask for a credit increase when your credit score is at least 650. When you get a credit increase, it increases your overall available balance that's available to you, okay? And when it does that, it raises your credit score. But if your credit score is less than 650, don't ask for a credit increase because you're wasting your time, okay? Most major banks say that you need at least a 650 and above to get a credit increase. Even if you've been with that same bank for years, you could be with that same bank for 10 years, and you can make perfect payments on there every single month. But if you're maxed out in your other credit card obligations, right? Because when you ask for a credit increase, they're going to look at all your other credit card accounts. They're going to see what's going on with your other ones. And if you're maxed out with your other ones, then they're not going to give you the credit increase because they think that you have too much of a debt load. So if you want a credit increase, you can't be maxed out on everything else. And you got to have at least a credit score of 650 if you want a credit increase. Okay? Can you get a credit increase? Of course you can. Best Buy is good for giving those credit increases, and they give them to you quick. Okay? Especially right now. So if you're looking to get some electronics or something, and you have a Best Buy card, this is the perfect opportunity. Apply for credit once in a while. Is there anybody out there that applies for credit a lot? You could just type in the chat if you do. Is there anybody apply for credit a lot or just once in a while? Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know. And sometimes we get in this habit. We go crazy. You got rejected. I know. Yeah. Yep. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to answer that. Is because it's because your credit score is not where it's supposed to be. That's why you got rejected. Your credit score is not where it's supposed to be. And not only that, that's one reason, but you cannot apply for too many credit cards at the same time. Okay? Especially when you're trying to raise your credit score. So apply once in a while. A once in a while time. Okay? Not all at one time. You could do that when you're looking for a car or a mortgage. We're gonna talk about that later. But the number one reason why we get rejected for credit is because derogatory information on the credit report. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen that letter. I'm going to talk to you about that in a few minutes. Derogatory information. If your credit is okay, your credit score is not high enough. Stop it. Don't apply for any more credit because you know you're not going to get approved. And I know it's an impulse thing, you're out there in the mall and whatever, and they entice you to apply for credit, and you say, well, maybe I may get approved. And you try and you get embarrassed. I know. And that's why you're on this call today. And I hope that you take some of these strategies with you today to try to increase your credit score. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get your credit score to where you want it to be. It's not a quick fix, but we can get there. Okay? All right, re-aging. Does anybody know what re-aging is? If you do, just say yes. If you don't, just say no. Chat room. Does anybody know what re-aging is? Re-aging of you do? Okay. Anybody else? Re-aging of account? Okay. Oh, okay. Re-aging of account. No. Okay. No problem. All right. So what re-aging, from what I understand, is, and let me just be clear with this, okay? And you want to make sure this doesn't happen. A re-age is, for example, let's just say, for example, you got a charge off. All right, and your charge off has a certain date. So say, for example, you look at your credit report and it shows a charge off or a collection. Let's just say a collection account. And that collection account says that your account was open in 2000. That's when it was open. Or was, well, yeah, let's say it was open in 2000. Okay, that's when the account was open. Then your account went delinquent on 2001. So that's when the first time it went delinquent. So 7 years from that date is when that account will come off your credit report. 7 years. Okay, so that's the first time you went delinquent in 2001. So 7 years from that date it'll fall off your credit report if you don't do anything, right? So say, for example, 3 years go by. Okay, you still have that account, and that was the last time you made a payment on that account. 3 years. So 2004, okay, was the last time you made a payment on account. All right. Now it'll show date of last activity was in 2004. Okay, that was the last time you make a payment. Some collectors will try to keep your account on your credit report longer than the 7-year mark. Remember, it's supposed to come off 2008. So what they would do is they would try to re-age the account by saying your account was open or was delinquent in 2004. So what they did was it was really delinquent in 2001, but they re-aged it and said it was delinquent in 2004. So that means it can stay on your credit report longer. That's what re-aging means. They re-age it. They put another date on it. They put a later date on your credit report, which is illegal. And when they do that, it drops your credit score. So they re-age the date by saying instead of it being delinquent in 2001, they're saying that now it was delinquent in 2004. So you got to pay attention to that very carefully. That can tear up your credit score. Okay? All right, rapid rescore. Does anybody know what a rapid rescore is? You can just say yes or no. Anybody? No? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I got a call a couple of days ago. All right, no problem. I got a call a couple of days ago. The guy wanted to know if we offer, because I do credit repair. They wanted to know if we offer rapid rescore. And I told him that that's only done with mortgage when you're trying to apply for home. And credit repair companies don't do rapid rescores. Okay? Now, how does it apply to you and how does it apply to your credit score? If you're trying to, get a home and say, for example, you have a collection account that's outstanding, okay, a couple of them that's outstanding, what you can do is you can talk with your mortgage loan officer and you can tell them, hey, look, do you guys partner or affiliate with someone that does rapid rescoring? And most loan officers do. There's a third-party company that will do it for them. And this third-party company has a contract or a relationship with the credit bureaus. Okay? So what you would do is you would go ahead and zero out that balance with the collection agency and get proof that you paid it. You'll give it to your loan officer. Your loan officer would give it to the third party. The third party would rapid rescore your score, letting the credit bureaus know that now that debt is zeroed out and balanced. The credit bureaus will go ahead and recalculate everything. They will update your credit report quick, and then you would get a new credit score. Okay, so your credit score can go up. All right, so that's what a rapid rescore is in theory, and it's mostly applied to you when you're trying to buy a home. Okay. Add new accounts. Has anyone ever tried to add a new account to their credit report? Anyone? No? Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. You can't add a new account to your credit report by just calling the credit bureaus up and say, hey, can you add this account? And the reason why is because the credit bureaus don't have a contract with you, or you're not an established company, a creditor. Okay? Can you try to do it? Sure. You could send them a letter and say, hey, look, can you add these utility bills to my my credit report. Okay, but what you can do is some creditors, some furniture stores like these renter centers and errands and stuff like that. Some of these furniture stores that you buy furniture for, if you're trying to increase your credit score, they won't report to the credit bureaus. But some of them do have relationships with credit bureaus because guess what happens if you don't pay that furniture? They're going to give it to a collection agency, and the collection agency is going to what? Report it to the credit bureau. So what you can do is you can write a letter to the credit bureau with your payment history, okay, for these furniture stores, and you can ask the credit bureau to add that creditor to your credit report. And you can also ask the furniture store if they can report your payments to the credit bureaus, okay? Because by adding additional payments, good on timely payments, then you can increase your credit score. So never forget about that strategy. If you're renting some sort of furniture, if you go into these renter centers, these errands, that sort of thing, these errands, furniture, any of these little mom and pop furnitures where you buy beds and stuff like that, ask them about their reporting. If you're financing it, ask them, do they report to the credit bureaus? That's another way for you to raise your credit score, okay? Don't pay off old debts. How many people think they should pay off old debts? Just let me know in the chat box. How many people think they should pay off old debts? Say yes or no. Anybody? Should you pay off old debts? Will it hurt your credit score? Anybody? Yes or no? Pay down, but never totally? Okay. Should you pay off old debts, like in collections? Okay. All right. Old debts. 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. Are you obligated to pay them? Sure. Yeah, you're obligated to pay them. Why? Because they gave you the money, right? But should you pay them? Well, if they're really, really, really old, like past 5 years, and you're not trying to buy a home or anything like that, they're not really affecting your credit score. I'm not telling you to not pay your bills. You should always pay your bills. But think about it first, okay? If the debt is past the statute of limitations on when a collector can sue you, basically mean your state says that each collector has a certain amount of time that they can sue you for a debt. That's what your state says. You have to find your law on that one, okay? So that time starts from the date of last activity. So the last time you pay it, you count how many years from that point based on your state. It could be 4 years, it could be 3 years, or whatever. So during that 4-year time, the collector can come after you and sue you for that debt, right? Past that time, they can't. So if you have an $8,000 debt outstanding, it's about 5 or 6 years old, it's really not affecting your credit score. You do what you want to do, okay? But here's the key kicker here with your credit score. If you pay an old debt that's that old, you know what's going to happen? It's going to generate activity on your credit report. It's going to update your credit report. That's exactly what's going to happen. And when it updates your credit report, it may say zero balance. But when FICO comes and look at it, it's still derogatory because it's still a collection. It's just a collection with a zero balance. And that can actually drop your credit score. So be careful there, okay? Your true credit card balances. Did you guys know that sometimes the creditors don't report your correct balance on your credit card? Did anyone know that? Okay. Do you know that if you don't pay attention to your credit report, that by the creditor not reporting your correct balance, that's hurting your credit score? Some creditors do not report your correct balance because they don't want other creditors soliciting you for the business. They don't want other creditors sending you invites, credit card invites. So some of them don't report your balance at all, which is not legal, okay, because they were supposed to report all accurate information. They have a duty to report if they're signed up with the credit bureau, okay? Some of them don't report it, so you have to dispute that. You have to check your credit report periodically to see if they're reporting the correct balance. If they're reporting the incorrect balance, you have to dispute that. Because guess what? They're cheating you They're cheating you because they're not showing your correct balance, and that balance is not being calculated when FICO comes around to calculate your credit score. So it's very important that you check that, and if they're not reporting, you send them a dispute letter letting them know that they should be reporting your balance, and they're not, and it's hurting your credit score. Okay? Very important that you understand that concept. How many people, just let me know, yes or no, how many people apply for retail store cars just for the discount? How many people? Just say yes or no. Just to get that discount. Anybody? Anybody? I know I have one time. Just to get the discount, right? Very persuasive, aren't they? You know, they sign up right here, you know, get all the discounts right now. All right? So the problem with that strategy, and you have to be careful with that, is that the retail store providers, some of them give you a nice balance, available credit, and some of them don't. So if you apply for a retail store credit card, right, on the spot, they may just give you just a $300 balance. Okay? And if they give you a $300 available balance, what are you going to do? You're going to go right out there and you're going to max out that balance. Same day. Be careful, guys, with this. Because when you max the balance out, what's going to happen? It's going to bring your credit score where? Down. It's going to bring your credit score down. So don't get so enticed on those retail store cards that you see, okay, that they're trying to promote to you right away. Because we all know that we're impulse buyers, and we all know that we'll just go right out there and run that card straight up. And when we run that card straight up, guess what's going to happen? It's going to take our credit score completely down, okay? It's going to dip our credit score, all right? Learn from rejection letters. How many people have received those crazy rejection letters? Can you just say yes or no? When you apply for credit, how many people have received those in the mail? Unfortunately, you remember that word, unfortunately? Yes, I know, right? Anybody else? Unfortunately, right? Right? You know it's yeah, I know, right? You know it's coming from the creditor. You know that already, you know, because you see it and you see that white envelope. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. We've all received those letters. We've all received those letters. Okay? So when you receive those letters, learn from them. Don't throw them in the trash. Don't, well, later on you can shred them. But in initial beginning, learn from those letters. You can learn. They tell you right then and there what's wrong. They tell you why you got rejected. See, you thought that your credit score was good enough, right? Oh, yeah, my credit score is good. I'm going to try anyways, right? I'm going to try because my credit score is good enough. But then when you get that, or we'll contact you in 10 days thing, then you know your credit score is not good. So learn from those letters. They tell you right there why you got rejected. They also give you your credit score. Okay? So they tell you that you got rejected because of this, because of that. Okay? Because you have too many other credit cards, because you have too many derogatory accounts, because. So study it, learn it, take that letter, go back, look at your credit report, see where you went wrong, see what you need to do, see what game plan you need to put together. Don't apply for credit anymore. Wait. Don't apply for credit. Wait. Wait till you address some of the issues that letter just spoke about. Don't go out and apply for credit right away because you're going to get hit again. And it's going to dip your credit score again, and you'll be wasting your time. Okay? So applying for the car or car mortgage. How many people know that? What is the time frame that you can apply for a car or mortgage, and it only occurs as one inquiry? Does anybody know the time frame when you apply for a car, when you apply for multiple cars and or mortgage, and it only occurs as one inquiry? Does anybody know? Okay, so it's 30 days. So if you're searching for a car, if you're searching for a mortgage, and Sandra will answer that question during the Q&A, okay? if you're searching for a car or if you're searching for a mortgage, then you can search multiple banks. You can apply for multiple loans, all within that 30-day window, and FICO only um, makes it as one inquiry. Okay, but here's the thing: it's got to be in that 30-day window. If you go outside that 30-day window, say you do 30 days and you stop, and then you wait 5 days and you do it again, and then you stop, those are going to be individual inquiries. All right, so be careful there. All right. All right, creditors in a Goodwill letter. Does anybody know what a Goodwill letter is? If you can just tell me yes or no. Anybody know what a Goodwill letter? You ever heard of that before? Anyone? Yes. Okay. Does a Goodwill letter work, guys? Has anyone ever tried the Goodwill letter strategy? If you can say yes or no for me, appreciate it. Has anyone ever tried the Goodwill letter? No. Okay. All right. So what is a Goodwill letter? How does it apply to my credit score? Okay. Okay, so how does it apply to my credit score in the Goodwill letter? Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. Say, for example, you got behind on bills for one reason, and you missed one little payment. You missed one payment. You're a good payer, though. You pay good. You pay good. You pay real good. You know, you made your payments on time. You made your payments. You always make your payment on time, but for some reason, at one time, you made the wrong payment. You forgot. You forgot to make the payment, and 30 days went by, and you notice a 30-day dip in your credit score. A Goodwill letter is just a Goodwill letter to the credit bureau, pretty much begging them, the creditor, pretty much begging them that you made a mistake, okay? And then you write this lovely, nice letter. Oh, I'm so sorry this happened. You know, I've been with you guys for a long time. You know, I've never made payments, late before. There's some issues with my family. I lost my job, whatever the case may be. You write this very sad letter to the creditor, and you ask them if they can forgive you for that late payment. You ask them if they can forgive you for that late payment. Okay? That's what a Goodwill letter is. Most banks will go ahead and waive that one late payment for free, or they'll go ahead and waive that one 30-day late for free. Okay? But the Goodwill letter has to be authentic and it has to be real. Very powerful letter too, and that will bring your credit score back to its normal state. Okay? Watch for identity theft. Anybody with identity theft? Anyone's identity stolen? Okay? Anybody? Nobody? Okay? The identity theft here, this will kill your credit score. Okay? Watch your credit report, guys. Watch your social. Watch where you put your credit card. Watch who you give your information to. This will kill your credit score, and it's going to take you some time to fix it. Okay? Make sure you have all your parameters in place, all your notifications in place for your bank accounts, your debit accounts. Make sure don't give any information on the phone unless you know the company. Don't respond to these phishing emails that you see, because as soon as they get a hold of your personal information, they start applying for credit. Even if you have decent credit score, it's going to be a long haul trying to restore it. Okay? So make sure you watch out for identity theft. Okay? The good thing is there is recourse. If for some reason there's collection accounts that appear in your credit report for identity theft, all you have to do is write the creditor, the collector, and the credit bureau and let them know you are a victim of identity theft. Get a police report, fill out a affidavit from the Federal Trade Commission website, submit that with your dispute letter, and by law, the credit bureaus must block those derogatory accounts on your credit report that stems from identity theft. Okay? Creditor monitoring. Does anybody have credit monitoring? Somebody say yes or no for me. Anybody has credit monitoring? Is it important, guys? Is credit monitoring important or no? Okay. Yes, it is. Okay, good. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Credit monitor is very important. For what reason? Okay, good. Credit Karma. That's good. For what reason? For the reason that we just talked about. Identity theft. Okay? You don't want to work so hard to build your credit and to raise your credit score for someone to just destroy it. for someone to just take it. And if you don't have these credit monitoring uh, uh, things in place, if you don't have all these things in place, and you work so hard to get your credit score to where it's supposed to be, they're just going to destroy it. So you have to put a shield around your credit report. You have to put a bulletproof vest around your entire credit score, because eventually you will reach your goal. If you keep attending workshops like this, if you keep learning from the best, if you keep trying over and over and over and over and over, you will win the game in the end. You have to. You have to, because you're up on Saturday, right? You are up listening to this while other people are in the streets and they got bad credit. You see, a lot of people uh, register for this webinar, but only half of the people showed up. You're here, you're learning. The other people, they got bad credit, and they're going to continue having bad credit because they don't want to take any action. So I want to thank all of you guys for attending, okay? Get your credit monitoring. It's very important. It alerts you to when there's any activity on your credit report. Currently, I use Privacy Guard. I like Privacy Guard, and I like the way the layout is. Okay, right now they have a trial going on. I think it's $1 right now for the first 14 days, and then it's $19 a month. Okay, worth the money. Inquiries. Let's talk about inquiries real quick. Inquiries. Every time you apply, do you have some good credit monitoring companies, or can the credit bureau do this? Yeah, the credit bureaus can do that for you. Okay, they all offer their own credit monitoring solutions. Okay, there's a lot of them out there. Like this one lady just said Alonzo just said Credit Karma. I use Privacy Guard. That's what I use. And all of my clients that sign up for my credit repair services, it's mandatory that they get with Privacy Guard, because it's very simplistic and easy to use. Okay? All right, let's go back. I'm sorry. Inquiries. Yeah, my IQ is good too, Willie. That one is a good one too, my IQ. Inquiries. Every time you apply for credit report, every time you apply for credit, there's an inquiry that appears on your credit report. At the very bottom, it says inquiries. All right? Every time you apply, it's called a hard pull. So whenever you apply, your credit score can drop anywhere from 3 to 4 points. That's why I told you before to never apply for too much credit unless you really need it. All right? Because those inquiries will build up. Here's a good thing. Inquiries only apply to your credit score for 12 months. That's it. So 12 months, within that 12-month period, the credit score, FICO score, will calculate your inquiries. Okay? When it passes 12 months, they no longer care. They're no longer an effect on your credit score. So be careful when you're trying to get approved for credit. Watch the inquiries. Now you got hard inquiries and soft. Hard inquiries are when you apply for credit. Soft inquiries is when you look at your own credit report. When you look at your credit report, that's soft. When you're applying for a credit increase, internally, it could be soft too. When a collector is trying to collect money from you, that's a soft inquiry. So when you're looking at your credit report, that's soft. That's not hard. Okay? So guys, we're gonna answer all the questions during our Q&A. Okay? If you can just hold them for me, and we'll get to that one. Don't lie on your application to try to get it approved, because it won't work. The creditors will find out that you lie, and it's illegal. All right, and it's fraud. A lot of people put, well, how much do you make every year? 60,000. That's not true. Come on. How much do you make a year? 200,000. That's not true. All right, don't lie on your application. Just tell the truth on your application. All right, don't put fake Social Security numbers on there. Don't use tax ID number, that sort of thing. That doesn't work, guys. It may work, but in the end, it's not the way you want to go. We're trying to start off, and we're trying to build in the right path. Okay. Budgeting. In order to keep your credit scores on track, you got to get in the habit of budgeting. I know budgeting is hard, because we barely make enough money, but you got to start learning how to budget your money so you can allocate it to throw more money at your balances. You have to throw more money at those credit card balances and those revolving accounts. If you have loans out, like a personal loan or furniture loan or or whatever loan you have, a installment loan or like a washer and dryer, that's calculating into your credit score. So you got to budget money so you can pay down your balances so you can eventually get your credit score to where you want to, where you want it to be. All right? So let's get in the habit of budgeting some money. You know, let's look at our budget every month. Let's see where we can pull money from to start throwing money at the credit cards, okay? Savings. We all know that that's hard. Okay? We know that saving money is hard. All right? But let me tell you how this can help you. Saving money can stop you from taking money from other places. You with me so far? So say, for example, if you don't have any savings and something bad happens, right? You're going to pull money from your bills. I mean, not bad, but like say your car breaks down or something like that. You're going to pull money from your bills. You're going to pull money from the bill money that you're supposed to use to pay your credit cards. Or you're supposed to make your what? Car payment. Or you're supposed to make your what? Another payment. So without savings, you are going to jeopardize your credit score. That's exactly what's going to happen. So if you can't save or you're trying to save, start with 5% of everything you make. Start with 5%. Put 5% away and say, this is my credit score budget. You don't want anything to intervene with making your bills or paying your bills on time. Because if you're cash strapped, if you don't have any money in your bank and you're that broke, then there's a likelihood that you're going to get behind on your monthly payments, right? And if you get behind on your monthly payments, then you're defeating the whole purpose of being on this webinar, this workshop, because you won't be able to make your payments on time. So if you can save some money, at least 5% of everything you make, and when tax time comes around, guys, take some of that money, put it away for savings, all right? Emergencies, all right? So emergencies is kind of like the savings thing in a way, like the emergency fund for emergencies. So we kind of cover that, all right? So savings in a way is kind of like emergency. So you want to have an emergency budget also, right? What happens if you go into the hospital? Okay, or what happens if you don't have any insurance? Which I think everybody should have insurance now with this with this Obamacare thing. There should be no reason why we don't have it now, you know. But if you don't have some sort of emergency fund set aside, then what happens if something major happens, right? You get hurt, or you're in the hospital. Then how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to pay the credit cards that you've been paying good on for the last 10 months? How are you going to pay it? You see, yeah. So you got to think. I want to get you thinking here. I want to get you thinking. We work so hard to build this up, to build up our credit score. We work so hard to bulletproof our credit score against identity theft, against new collection accounts, against derogatory. But then an emergency happens. We get in a car accident, a family member, or whatever, right? And now we have to tap into all the money that we have available to handle this emergency. Okay? But you're still alive, and you still have bills that's coming in every single month. Car payment, care credit, credit card, all these things, your student loan. You got to have emergency guys to cover emergencies so you can keep your monthly payments going. Okay? Very important. Insurance. How many people, if you could just chat in here, have all the necessary insurances in place in case something happens so you don't have to come out of your pocket? Does most people have insurance, like, for example, medical insurance? Does most people have that? Okay? If you don't have medical insurance now and something happens, how are you going to pay it? You see where I'm going with this? Get your insurance so you can protect your overall financial status. What about life insurance? If something happens to somebody in our family members, how are you going to pay if something happens to you? You see, or something happens to a family member. What about all the debt that you owe? What about disability insurance? What happens if you're trying to work and you get hurt or injured and you can't work anymore? And workman's compensation is over now. They're not giving you any more money in workers' compensation. You see where I'm going with that? So you got to have certain insurances in place to protect your overall financial financial portfolio, and I call it the credit score portfolio. And if you don't have the appropriate insurances in place, like let me give you an example: dental insurance, some sort of dental insurance. I don't care if it's a discount card, but I know that there's somebody on this workshop today, or maybe more than two, that's had issues with dental. And they went into the dentist and they didn't have the crazy prices that the dentist charged, a couple $1,000s for a root canal, or to extract a tooth or whatever. But the thing is that if you don't have the money to do it right then and there, you're in pain. Okay, they're not going to really work on you. Dentist is not like, the emergency room. They don't have to take you. So if you have some sort of medical discount card or some sort of dental coverage from your job, okay, that'll cover that for you. So now you don't have to, lie and say, okay, I'm going to get you the money. Can we do a payment plan? And then, you give them half of the money and then you don't pay the rest. And what happens, guys? Your credit score takes a dip. All right? So let's get the insurances in place. All right. So before we go to the Q&A, we're going to talk about credit repair service. Just a show of hands, not a show of hands, but just type in the box for me. How many people on today's call are using or interested in some sort of credit repair service, or are using a credit repair service? Can you just tell me yes or no? Just type yes or no. Is there anybody here tonight or this morning that's interested in credit repair services? Anybody? No? Okay. Anybody else? Is anybody interested in credit repair services? Yes? All right, Calvin. Anybody else? Does everybody feel that they can do this on their own? That they can repair their credit on their own? Do you feel confident enough that you could take on the creditors, the credit bureaus, build your credit, and raise your credit score? If you do, can you just say yes or no for me in the chat box? Okay. I know a couple people on the phone. Yes, you feel confident? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So you guys, I don't know if everyone knew or not, but we just launched a credit repair service. Okay. And we not only offer software for startup credit repair businesses and consumer software, and not only do we teach and I teach through my books, but now we're now offering the credit repair services. So if you're the type of person that don't want to deal with credit bureaus, the creditors, that sort of thing, we can do all that work for you. All right? And let me explain to you. So what happens is when you, and I'm going to go through this real quick, and then after this, we're going to come back to the Q&As, and you guys can answer, ask me whatever question you want. So basically what happens when you come on board with our credit repair services, we do what we call a deep credit analysis. And what we do is we take your credit report and we break it down and we see what's going on with it and why your credit score is low. And then we make all the recommendations on how you can improve your credit score. Okay? We give you all the recommendations on what you need to do to improve your credit score and improve your overall credit report. That's very important. And if you don't know how to do this yourself, then we'll take care of that for you. Okay? That's called a deep credit analysis. And then we send over a report to you, a PDF report, give you a complete breakdown on what you need to do. And then we do a phone interview with you going over this with you. Okay? And the next thing we do, if you like the credit analysis and you want to move forward with the services, we do the credit repair services for you, the monthly maintenance plan. That's where we'll challenge all the inaccurate information for you on your behalf with the creditors, collectors, and credit bureaus. So basically, you don't have to do anything because we'll do all the work for you. And I've been doing this for a long time, guys, and I teach and I train people how to do this. So I think I know what I'm doing, and we'll do all this for you. Now, if anybody's interested in signing up for our plan or for our services, I'll give them a $50 discount, a $49 discount, and we can get them in, okay? So we charge, what is the cost? So we charge $199 for credit analysis if you signed up today, and there's a monthly maintenance fee of $99 a month, and that's the credit repair process that we do for you. It's kind of like the Lexington Law thing where they charge the $99 a month, but that's what we charge. We do the credit analysis for you, and we do a monthly maintenance fee of $99 a month, and we do all the credit repair work for you. So this is something that you want to think about. The normal credit analysis fee is $249, but today, if you signed up today, it's only $199, so you save $50, and we get you into the monthly plan. We don't charge the $99 a month until 30 days later in the rear, after we get your first round of disputes out, and we also educate you on how to raise your credit score even more and how to rebuild your credit score, okay? So just think about that and let me know. If you're interested in that, you can give us a call once this workshop is over at this number here, okay? I'm going to give you a few minutes to take it down. And you can also visit selfcreditrepairlearningcenter.com, all right? And just go ahead and take it down. Does anybody have any questions about the credit repair service? And if you do, just go ahead and type it in for me. Anybody? Anybody at all? No questions? Okay, let me just check right here. Any questions for anyone? All right, no problem. All right, so let's move on to our Q&A. So let's get some of these questions. Let's go ahead and answer some of these questions here. All right, so we got our first question. Says, yes, I disputed the collection for validation, and as a result, they could not validate the debt, so they took it off the report. But within the same month, another collection agency picked up the account and re-aged the account. Is this legal, illegal, and what can I do? Yeah, so that's common. If you dispute a debt with the debt collection agency and you ask for validation, then if they can't provide the documentation, then yes, they may just close out that account and sell it because they don't want to deal with you. They feel that you're too much of a pain or you're too educated, so they don't want to deal with you. So what they'll do is they'll just close out the account and they'll sell it to another collection agency, and the other collection agency will report it to the credit bureau. But the first collection agency can't have a balance. So you may see two collection accounts on that credit report. One from the first collector and two from the second one, the one who purchased the collection account. Both of them can't have balances. All right? The first one can't have a balance. The second one can have a balance because now they bought it from the first collector. But they can't re-age the account. And yes, Sandra, that is illegal, and you have to let them know that in the form of a dispute letter, okay? Let me see. Can it work? But best if the reader has our, okay. Do you have some, okay. If you participated in a remodification on your credit report, it shows that you were late. Is there any way to have the creditor take this off? Well, during the remodification program or during the remodification time, if you're not making your monthly payment to the bank, they're reporting it late, just like any other late. The remodification is just a program that you're going through, okay? But you're still obligated until that remodification is complete. You're still obligated to make the payment. I mean, because they're just putting you through the program. Now, you can talk with the creditor, okay? You can ask them about that and see if they have any programs in place to handle those late payments, see if they can remove them during that remodification period. You can ask them for a good faith waiver, all right? And based on what they tell you, if they say no, they can't, then you have to put those late payments into a late payment dispute process. And you have to find errors in their reporting. So remember, the creditor is reporting this information to the credit bureaus. So you have to find some sort of error in order to dispute those late payments. Okay? All right, so we're open for questions. Oh, how long does it take to repair credit? Willie Payne, how long does it take to repair? Willie, it really depends. It depends on your credit report. Sometimes repair is not required. It depends on your goals. If you're trying to get a home and you're just trying to reach your credit score limit, like say the loan officer says, hey, well, you need a 650 to get approved for FHA loan, then you know that all you need to do is figure out how to get 650, right? And you can still have some derogatory information. But if the loan officer says, hey, you got 3 collection accounts that's outstanding, right, and you need to resolve these before we move on with this loan, then you have to settle those debts. And then once you settle those debts and then you close on the loan, then you can go back to the dispute process. All right? So if you don't care about your credit score and you just say, hey, look, Mark, I just want all these inaccurate information off my credit report, then it could take anywhere from 6 to 12 months for the repair process. It depends on how many derogatory accounts on your credit report. But what we've seen in our business is that we've seen the best results within the first 3 months. Now remember, you could dispute 25 items on the first credit report, okay? And 8 to 10 of those is probably going to come off on the first round. So it depends on how bad a person's credit report is. If it's only a couple items, if it's 100 items. So it really is a case-by-case basis. All right, I need more accounts. Who can qualify me if my credit score is 610? Okay, so we're talking about a rebuilding credit thing here. All right, 610 is extremely low. Now, is there banks out there that'll issue you a credit card on a 610 credit score? Yeah, there are banks out there that will do it. But they're subprime credit cards. That's what they're called. They're high-end interest rate subprime credit cards with a lot of fees attached. And the reason why they have a lot of fees attached is because they're kind of like punishing you for having bad credit. They're kind of like saying, hey, you were a bad boy or gal in the past, and we're going to punish you by giving you all these fees so you can rebuild your credit. Okay? And if you want to find those type of cards, you can go to bankrate.com or you can go to myfico.com, and they have credit cards that will match your credit score. Okay? I hope that answered your question. Okay, thanks. They're using the Vantage score now. I have a person whose Vantage score is 666, and no FICO score. Will a mortgage company accept the Vantage score? Most mortgage companies are still using FICO. All right, guys? If you don't know the difference between Vantage score and FICO score, Vantage score is a credit score that's made up from all 3 of the credit bureaus. All 3 major credit bureaus got together and they said, hey, FICO, we're tired of you dominating the credit score arena. So we're going to come up with our own credit score. So they came up with the Vantage score. But the problem with that is that the Vantage score is a much higher number than the FICO score. And most lenders, just like Windows, just think about it. Microsoft Windows dominates the entire world, right? So if a competitor came in and tried to knock out Microsoft, that's going to be extremely difficult. And they're just going to give up. So the banks are in bed with MyFICO, pretty much. All the lenders have all of their systems and their computers set up to run FICO scores for years. So they're so used to FICO that a lot of them have not went over to Vantage. So this is why when you're looking at credit scores, you always want to pay attention to my FICO score. Okay? Questions? This is the time, guys. If you have questions, here's the time to ask the questions. Okay? Anybody have any other tough questions they want to ask? Okay. All right. Very good. Third letter. All right. Good. Anybody else? Third letter on removing my inquiries Okay. What can be done to improve FICO score if they have a Vantage score? Okay. Well, okay, so if your customer has a Vantage score, they have a FICO score. If they have at least one credit card and that credit card has been in circulation for 6 months, okay, and they've made payments on that credit card for at least 6 months, then they have a FICO score. I will I would have that customer go to myfico.com and check out their FICO score. If they don't have at least one account, it's got to be one. It could be an installment account. It could be a revolving account. If they don't have anything on a credit report, then no, they won't have a score. But if they have at least one account and it's been 6 months old, then they have an account. All right? Have them go to myfico.com and they won't get removed. Okay. Alonzo, what is this? And they won't get removed? I don't know what that is. You mean for inquiries? Sandra. Oh, okay. All right. So, okay. So inquiries. So Lorenzo has a question about inquiries. So again, like I said before, inquiries are not that detrimental to your credit score after 2 years. If they're within the first, okay, good. If they're within the first 12 months and you only have one or two inquiries, don't worry about disputing inquiries. But if you have a lot of inquiries within the year or within the first 6 months, then disputing inquiries with the credit bureau is not your method, your best method. You want to go after inquiries with the creditors too. All right, you can combine both creditor and credit bureau and attack them at the same time. All right, but leave inquiries for last. Go after the most damaging information first, and then you leave inquiries for last. Okay? Can you get them removed? Yes. It's just going to take a little time. Okay? And Sandra, they have a secured card only. Okay, so what you have to do is first you have to, if that secured card has been there for 6 months and been reporting for 6 months, then they're going to have to pull the FICO. And Sandra, have they pulled the FICO? Have you pulled the FICO score for your client? Okay, and what did you get it from myfico.com? Was it from myfico.com? If it wasn't from myfico.com, then it's not the true FICO score. And I'm going to, no, I pulled it from TransUnion Report. Okay, so let me just talk to you guys really quick about, let me just, hold on, from Willie Payne, love Hidden Credit Repair Secrets in my Bible. That's correct, yeah. Thank you. Hidden Credit Repair Secrets has about 147 positive reviews now on Amazon. So thank you for that, Willie. Okay. Let me talk to you guys really quick about the difference between a FICO score and a FACO score. Does anyone know what a FACO score is? If you do know what a FACO score is, can you just say yes? Okay, no. Anybody else? Do you know what a FACO score is? All right, anybody else? Does anybody know what a FACO score is? Okay. Has anybody heard? Yes, all right. Has anybody heard of a free credit report online? Get your free credit report. Get your free credit scores. Anybody heard of that? Hey, get your free credit scores online. All these major banks, Chase and Wells Fargo, will give you your free credit scores. Anybody heard of that before? Credit Karma. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll give you a free credit score. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. Guess what? Those are not credit scores. Those are FACO scores. Okay. FACO. FACO means fake. What they are consumer scores. That's what they are. They're consumer credit scores. They're not real scores, guys. Okay? They're just scores to give you an idea of where you might be, where your credit score might be. So, if you pull from any of these credit report providers online, except MyFICO, including the TransUnion, including Experian, and including Equifax, Okay? You're going to get the consumer score. And it tells you that. If you read the little fine print at the bottom, they'll tell you right there those are consumer scores. What does that mean? That means is that that score that you're seeing could be 30 points off going up, or it can be 30 points off going down. That's what that means. So that means if you pull one of those scores and it says 650, that means your real FICO score could be 620. Or your real FICO score can be 680. Okay? That is a FICO score, consumer score. Every single one you see on the internet. Okay, even the free ones that your bank gives you. The real credit score that 90% of lenders use when you go apply for a home, when you go get a car, when you apply for the Walmart card, when you apply for the Citibank card, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, they all use the FICO score. So if you want your real credit score, whether you are a credit repair business or you're doing it on your own, you go to myfico.com. It's expensive. It's $20 a score. It's $60 to pull all three of your real credit scores. All right? I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but that's the things you learn when you attend my workshops. You know, you come to my training for free. You learn these sort of things. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Any other questions before we wrap up today? Okay, great, great. All right. So just by chatting in the box, did you guys feel that the information that was delivered to you today, ladies and gentlemen, did you feel that one more? Okay. Go ahead, Alonzo. One more. Okay, so Alonzo asked, how many secured cards can I have? As much as you want. Well, it's your money, so you can apply for as many secured cards as you want, because a secured card is as many as you want, because it's your money. I mean, they're not going to deny you for a secured card because you're giving them a deposit. Okay? So, but if you're asking how many secured cards do you need to rebuild credit, I would say 2. That's it. You know, 2 with a nice balance of maybe $500 to $1,000 available balance on it. If you get a secured card for $1,000, you want to keep at least $500 available. If you get a secured card for $500, you want to keep at least $251 available. Okay. If a person wants to buy a house with a thin file and they have a secured card, what else can be done to build their FICO score? Time. All right. They can add an authorized user to their account. They can get a co-signer to help them get a loan, a little small installment loan. Okay. So just think about it like this, Sandra, really quick. If they have a thin file and they only have one secured card, you got to put an installment loan on there, because the bank is not going to approve you for a loan when you don't have no credit history, especially when you're talking about paying a $600 or $700, $900, even $1,100, $1,200 monthly payment. So they can add an authorized user. They can go get a secured loan. I mean, they can get some sort of furniture loan. They can get a car loan. They can get anything that's a small loan to show some installment plans, okay? So you can add multiple strategies there. Besides that, I would say add 2 more, and then just give her some time to build her credit history, at least a year, at least 12 months of good on-time payments, okay? Any other questions, anyone else? All right, very good, thank you. So has everyone thought that this information was good for them? That really helped them in some way? If you did, just say yes for me. That helps me. That way I'll keep doing these for you guys. Okay? Anybody else? Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? If anything that I talked about today helped you guys, just go ahead and say yes for me, and I appreciate that. All right, thanks, Kevin. Kevin, you're always a trooper, man. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, good. All right, so that's going to conclude this workshop today. It will be available for replay. If you're interested in replay, you just have to let me know. You have to send me an email if you're interested in replay. And again, we're here to help you. If you run into a brick wall with your own, I see that there's a couple credit repair businesses that has my software online. Thank you guys for that. And if you run into any brick walls and you need the credit repair services itself, just give me a call and I'll honor that deal, okay? Very important that you do that. And I think that's it. If there's no other questions, we're going to close out and have a great weekend, okay? And take care, everyone.